Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, November 26th. We got a great show for you today coming up right after the jingle.
Brought to you by Keith.
That's right, man. Keith in the house. He's in the audience. I saw him saying, "Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?" And the answer is yes. We had to poke it a couple of times and then reset it. But we've got a jingle. We've got news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. And today we are joined by our friend, Mr. Matthew Harrowing of Instruxy. And because we're delayed getting started, I'm just not going to waste any more time. Matt, would you tell the people who you are, what you do, and a little about Instruxy, please?
Sure. Hey, guys. Really nice to be on. Thank you. I'm with Legends this morning. Really nice to be on. I know that I haven't figured my camera on. Should I be turning my camera on?
On TikTok, I suspect you may not have enough of a following.
You
need 1,000 followers.
Oh, there you go.
So
That's my issue. Well, that's all fine. Thanks. It's been thanks for the invite. So
you really do look like you're drawing, though. So if people want to see,
want to
see what you look like in the flesh, then come on over. You can join us on YouTube by searching Rise Up Morning Show Faceless Labs. Otherwise, sit back, relax. It'll be a true radio show. But please,
or I look like every other bald English man with a beard you've ever met. So it's good to be here. I guess so. Co-founder of Instruxy with my partner Austin Pribich. Austin and I have worked together many years, probably up to 15 years now. He's one of the best architects I've ever met in my life. We worked a lot together at Ernst & Young, where I got into blockchain, really trying to solve accounting issues using blockchain. So we launched back, I think it was 2016, an intercompany accounting platform where we integrated blockchain. It was Quorum at the time. We integrated it into SAP and Oracle. And the idea was, like, if you could create a mesh whereby you could connect all ledgers together and then mirror transactions across those ledgers, then you would eliminate reconciliations. So we got a couple of patents back then about on token structures. Austin went and joined Chainlink, and thanks. Austin went and joined Chainlink, and I was the CEO of a data fabric firm. Data fabrics are a way of querying data in disparate locations without actually moving the data and creating new data lakes. And then we came together with Instruxy to really take the best of Web 2 and Web 3. So Web 3 doesn't scale data very well. Web 2 isn't particularly secure. And one of the rich issues, and doesn't, it scales, but it has issues. So one of the biggest issues you've got with data is that if I have data in 3 different systems, then for me to run a report across all those 3 systems, I have to bring the data, either create another system or bring it all into one system. That just isn't efficient. And the reason we have to do that is because our compute is centralized typically, and our authentication layer and our policies are centralized. So what we can do, who we are, what we can do, and where we can do it is typically centralized. Now, if you take blockchain and you merge Web 2 data, you can have a great data layer, verified data in Web 3 world. And if you take the Web 2 world and you decentralize the policies, you decentralize the enforcement, what effectively it means is you can create infinite scalable data, verified, and you can create these data marketplaces where you can push queries from one system to another without having to copy data. So I've thrown a lot at you. So what Instruxy does, it facilitates universal data interoperability. So what? It means that when you tokenize a real world asset, that token is always linked to the asset where it is recorded. both from an object perspective and also from a transactional data perspective. I should be able to go on and off chain with one single query and reconcile my whole transaction. So Instructsy forms the golden thread from who you are, what you can do, where you can do it, the asset, all the way through to the transactional system in Web 2 and back again. Most of our clients are using it for real world asset tokenization. Others are using it to harden Web 2 infrastructure, making it more secure because we're meshing blockchain capabilities on Web 2 data. Threw a lot at you. Probably a lot.
Yeah, but I'm gonna throw that back at you because I mean, listen, it's hard to be thorough but concise. We've talked about this briefly before when we've talked, but the thing I love and that I'm really clapping for is we talk about real world assets all the time in crypto. We talk about how we can bring data on chain, but I feel like nobody is doing it in a meaningful, actionable way, and that's like a huge unlock, big time proof in the pudding, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for. Yeah, we agree. Now, on why this is really important. What we were inspired by. So back in 2017, there was a valuation of the British NHS data, and it was Ernst & Young that did it. It was a groundbreaking report on how to value data as an asset. Now, wonderful, great. Now I know my data is valuable. I know how to value it. I can sell it. However, now I've incentivized every business on earth to sell their data without my consent. Now we've created this great incentive structure, and we were just kind of bothered by that. We don't like being harvested without our consent. So in doing this, we realized we had to get control of the data, blockchain. We had to facilitate universal interoperability, governance over data, blockchain. But we had to build in an ethical framework for intent-based data sharing. And we had to do it in a secure way. So we know that data is valuable. We know that there's a huge market for data interoperability. We know it's useful for research and medicine and finance and everything. But we really don't like being harvested. We really don't like the fact that my likes, my dislikes, everything about me, where I look on a screen, whether my eyes dilate, these are all being sold. It's awful. So we have an ethical problem with data harvesting without consent. And if you get my consent, then share the value. If you're selling my genome for $4,000, which they are, if they're selling my PBM record for $189 a year, which they are, give me some of that cash.
Yep.
Let me consent to that. So this is where the data economy is coming. Why it's important today is real world assets. We need to verify that the transaction, the actual asset is real. Hence the reason why we're partnered with Chainlink. We integrate Chainlink into every part of our stack. Proof of reserves, Chainlink functions. We can verify the data through, thank you, I appreciate the plug. We can verify the data with proof of SQL from Space and Time, fantastic platform. So we can create an end-to-end verified golden thread so that any assets that are on chain, you can hold a gold token and you know that gold is real, and you can see all the documents, the audit reports, and the transactions that verify it.
Okay. Sweet. So for people, let me remind our folks who are just catching up and watching or tuning in. This is our friend Matthew Harrowing of Instructsy. And we are talking today and really this week about interoperability and data availability on blockchain. We're talking about how you create decentralized, truly decentralized streams of information. It's a big buzzword. To get the verification that on-chain guarantees, to really realize the promise of Web3. So this is how you start to, you hear about people doing this kind of thing all the time. This is how you start to solve this problem. One way you could swing this bat. So let us know what questions you have about this, because this can be a technical topic and we want to make sure that you understand it, especially if you're new. So let us know what questions you have. And then Alex, Will, I'm going to defer to you. I was navigating the phone and doing some back and forth in the chat here. Where do you want to take this? What do you think might be helpful for the folks back home?
Who are your targeted customers?
Right.
How do you see yourself kind of expanding and kind of getting this into the world, into industries and all that kind of stuff? How do you see that growth happening?
So great question. Thanks. So let's talk about real world asset tokenization. So when we talk about RWA, I mean, RWA can be anything. So you've seen these DDIDs. It's you being tokenized. We've seen these yield bearing securities. Ondo Finance was a great, wonderful token launch. Probably the best token launch best orchestrated token launch I've seen in my life. Really boring financial products, but fantastic product, fantastic bit of engineering. Hats off to them. So we're starting to see these things come on chain. So for us, we back in spring 2023, we won a Chainlink hackathon for tokenizing gold, and we integrated Chainlink functions for querying, Chainlink proof of reserves for the treasury management. We tokenized gold for a company called Ion, and we integrated all of that into Fireblocks, and so you had institutional grade STO around creating gold. Now, clients like that are really good for us because we provide an enterprise scalable stack that connects with systems to prove that. Now, we've done property. We're about to do forward contracts, $400 million worth of forward contracts representing $2 billion of assets. Now, when we start bringing these big numbers on chain, people have to have confidence. So for us, our target clients are folks with assets, enterprises with assets, businesses who want to come on chain. Now, so the issue kind of has always been where to take these assets. There is no deep liquidity pool for RWA. It just isn't there yet.
Sure.
So we're working with a company that is, let's just say they're very well connected in the DeFi world. They're called RAC, RAAC.io. And we're going to be bringing on an end-to-end. So we're the golden thread. We get the assets to the treasury. We tokenize the treasury. These guys, Regnum Aurum, are going to be creating the on-chain marketplace with deep liquidity pools. And we're going to be jointly with some other big names that will be announced soon, creating a stable coin for real-world asset tokenization. So we're creating different classes of stablecoin, and this is the opportunity really for your guys to get involved.
So I wanted to take us back just a quick second because you mentioned the hackathon win for the gold tokenization. Can you compare that briefly to something like PAX-G, which people might be a little bit more familiar with? That's kind of been floating around for a while. Is it a similar process or is it totally different?
So for us, so PAX is a great product. It's absolutely fine. So the way that we build it, so we have integrated. So our objective with our client was to create a STO from the US, and so they spent a lot of money going through the legals to do that. So we created a treasury contract that was public and everyone can see what the reserves are. Everyone could see. Then we used, we built a lot of tooling over storage, STORJ, and space and time. So we created a decentralized data layer so that if you hold the token, you can see the physical documents that verify the asset. You can see the actual data supporting. So you can see the reserves. You can see the physical documents. Then you've got the treasury token, and then you've got the fractional ownership of the treasury. Now, and because we've got that golden thread, both on a data layer and also on a so we also built some reporting in space and time so everyone could see in a Web 2 world what was going on. Because you had that golden thread all the way into Fireblocks, which is an institutional grade wallet. we created something that we felt was quite unique, that complete visibility of end-to-end from operational systems right the way through. Now, that similar principle, so we created something called a virtual NFT. Please bear with me for a moment. So we've had to build some different type of token structures to make data work on chain. So if I can verify the compute layer in the same way I can verify a transaction, then I can bring data on chain, streaming data, which means I can represent an asset and the status of an asset on a near live basis. So our virtual NFT looks like an NFT, can be traded like an NFT, but it is metadata based against a verified compute layer, which means if I'm reflecting, let's say, oil that's being refined, I can show on a near live basis against the asset that you hold the status of the effective supply chain or the processing.
So the goal there
interesting
would be to, not to cut you off, but to, instead of relying on someone to be manually updating all of this kind of stuff, using that linkage to, the real world data, it's doing it automatically, just like what via smart contract.
Yeah, completely. So we can punch out the status change on a near live basis connected to the asset. So if a virtual NFT represents,
that's cool.
So if you think of the supply chain stuff, like supply chain changes status.
Yeah.
There's several things that happen in the supply chain. One of the things, and this is kind of goes back to some of the patents that we got in Ernst & Young. So things have metadata associated to them, but they also have ownership, and those structures are very different. But from an accounting perspective, I need both. From a real world perspective, I need to know who owns it and where they own it and what its value is and what it is. And so ultimately, we've got to get to a world where if I buy a mobile phone, it should be self-knowing, self-posting, and having an immutable asset on chain actually doesn't really work. You need a live transforming asset. So this is why having a verified compute layer is so important. Now,
so I want to dumb that down just a little bit more, and this is my understanding of it, so let me know if it's wrong. But as an investor, you have invested in a tokenized asset. Let's use oil as that example. So as an investor, what this does for you is it basically gives you visibility. It basically gives you a window directly into the current status of that asset that you own in the supply chain, giving you updates about kind of where it is, where it's from, all that little bits and pieces. So you have total understanding, independent of yourself, your own ability to self-service that information as opposed to relying on other people giving that to you, but in a more real-time way. So you actually know where the real asset is, where it comes from, all that kind of stuff, and can get updates yourself on the asset that you technically own in a tokenized form. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We're bringing the Web 2 world and all of the rules of verification, asset verification, and we're making them available for value transfer and governance. And the beauty of Web3 is that we created our own mesh, Instruxy Mesh ID, and it's verified by Clear in the US. So what that enables me to do is to verify your wallet of who you are. And our Mesh ID we can go into it another time, but effectively it's a combination of verification for elements. But it means that I can guarantee that you are you when you buy tokens. I can force an event through a smart contract to verify you before you receive tokens. But it also means that with our platform, I can give granular data controls for you to either receive files or receive data or have access to data regardless of where the data is. That is the power of Web3. Everything is under a public and private key pair. The whole world now comes under your ownership, your control, your keys.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. I think I cut off what was going to be a magnificent ending. I'm sorry. What was your
Sorry,
your world, your keys, your ownership?
I talk too much. Everything you can do in a cloud today in a When you go into a cloud, you spin up your whatever project you're doing, and you're using GCP or Azure. It needs to know who you are, what you can do, and where you can do it. Fundamentals. Well, there isn't better technology on earth than blockchain to govern that. And we have taken all of that and we have decentralized it. And then we've wrapped space and time and storage and some other tools underneath it. So our platform is three things. It's a tokenization engine, fully integrated with Chainlink products. It is so you can create your treasuries, you can create your fractional tokens. There is an edge framework for you to link and verify back to your enterprise data. There is a data transfer and query framework. There is an enforcer, and then
there's four things.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. There's kind of an overlap, and may I just say, there's a really massive use. There are two use cases that have come out of the US that have nothing to do with tokenization, but are purely Web 2, and it shows how blockchain can be used.
Tell us briefly, because we have to go back and ask a lot of clarifying questions.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Don't be sorry.
Point one is US healthcare. There is a new standard that has to be adopted, which is a verified person for the endpoints. And our platform has been integrated with a messaging server, with a verified using Mesh ID, with a verified user for messaging and file transfers for medical records. This is going to go live. It has nothing to do with Web3 in the traditional sense. It is Web 2 with ZK proofs between, you might have to explain those, but between each layer of who you are, what you can do, and where you can do it. And then there is another company called Iris Insurance Tech, who have built an insurance data marketplace for insurance profiles to be shared and books to be shared across many companies governed by blockchain.
And this is answering somebody like, Jane's question. I work in a medical office. How is this going to help me? And it sounds like the answer is, as a patient, you're not going to have to worry about your records living out there for everyone to see all the time if somebody drops a file in the street because it's physical in paper. And also, as a provider, it sounds like you're not going to have the problem of Aetna's got a closed system and my hospital needs this information and that doctor fudged it up and I can't read this writing and it deteriorated and irradiated and yada, 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 yada. Right? Am I on the right track there?
You nailed it. So the industry body for data interoperability in healthcare in the US is called Direct Trust. Direct Trust set the standards. They do FHIR, ANSI standards. They came out with the new guidelines because, like in Florida, you've got 50 households with 3 generations of Maria Gonzalez. So it's even more complex. I have to verify it and then prove it in order for you to get the right meds at the right time. And these guys are, they've been working on something, it's called proof of outcomes, which is it'll be a mathematical way of verifying you got the drug that you were supposed to get at the right time. There is so much happening in this space using the principles of blockchain and ZK proofs and data, verified data, that honestly, there isn't a problem I don't think we can't solve right now.
Because this is kind of, sorry, Will, this is one of those things we talk about with RWA quite a bit, right? Is that in general, as a niche, it's exciting because this is kind of the point, or this, at least for me, this is one of those points where one of the reasons we were excited about VeChain so long ago, and I'll still defend it just because it's doing the thing, even if even if its token is not the world's greatest investment, they're doing the thing, and that deserves to be applauded and pointed out. Is just that idea of like, hey, listen, blockchains can't do everything. They're not good at everything, but there's a couple things that they're just uniquely incredible at. And secure, verifiable data availability for things that are genuinely hyper important, like your medical records. One of the things I'm thinking of here too is just like real estate applications has been a hurdle that has been a little bit difficult when you talk about like all of the different documentation that could theoretically need to be linked to something. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. It sounds like, yeah, if you can tackle this problem, there's really no end to the applications that you could use this for. Because I mean, data is at the heart of all things at this point in this day and age.
And we've talked so many times, haven't we, guys, on the show about just like what a tough nut to crack, and especially for the new people.
Yeah.
If you're totally caught up in ZK NFTs, the important thing here is that tokens allow you to verify that a thing is what it purports to be effortlessly, errorlessly, in a way that literally no other invention can do. This is the innovation of blockchain. And it's why we get so frustrated when people are only focused on which dog token should I buy today. Like, that's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But if you understand that that is the way the future is going, that now that we have this tool that exists in the world, and these are the kinds of ways that we can use it, then it's going to be a lot easier when somebody walks along with a company that says, I have finally solved the problem of pairing physical things with these NFTs that verify them effortlessly, errorlessly. Because it's hard. How do you attach a physical thing to this inherently digital thing, and then make sure when you change ownership, it doesn't get lost? Go ahead.
Just like Matthew was alluding to, and we've talked about too, is one of the big hurdles that RWA in general is going to have to get across before, the narrative itself can go from really exciting to, okay, I get this, I can see it being adopted and applied, is the tremendous amount of regulations in all of these different industries that it would like to touch. I mean, just take the medical documentation side, the number of things you'd have to be in compliance with and open about and verified by and this and that and whatever, like, it's immense. So if the project that you're looking at in the RWA niche has no plan to address any of that, or isn't addressing any of that, holy shit, like, bearish, run for the hills. Because it's a cool idea, but like, oh my God, there's so many things that you have to keep in mind when you're trying to work in all of these real fields. I mean, real estate, medical, like all of this kind of stuff just has so many rules that you have to abide by. You can't just slap a crypto in there and call it Web3 adoption,
No. And we had a friend a while ago in New York that we met. He was on a personal mission. His son's best friend had terminal childhood cancer, and he watched the journey of the friend. He watched the journey of his son, and he himself, he was a scientist, a researcher, and he kind of pivoted his life to, how do we change this terribly outdated system of paper files, of losing information, of not being able to share information related to cures, so that more people can have access to better data, and less kids, like his son's friend, will have to die earlier deaths than they ought to. I mean, you really can take this thing just about as far as you want. And before I kick it back to you, Matt, let me just say, this is Matthew Harrowing. He's with Instruxy, and they are solving that problem in one way. It's deeply technical and deeply fascinating, and I would love to know if you have a response to that. But then the next place I want to take it is, people are asking, okay, do you have a token? What kind of things are you doing right now, and how can I get involved? Can you touch on those things too?
Yeah, thank you. So right now, so many of our friends are struggling with various different ailments. It's been rough since COVID. We've all lost a lot of folks. It's also ridiculously expensive. I'm a US citizen, although, despite the accent, I have a Declaration of Independence on the wall behind me from 1820. I'm going to be celebrating in Florida this week, where I live most of the year. It's important to me we get the healthcare right, but it's important. So
well, I just want to state that an Englishman with a Declaration of Independence behind him is like a Red Sox fan wearing a Yankees cap.
But have you seen what's going on over here in terms of freedom of speech and stuff in the UK? So I'm here in the UK this week, but anyway, that's I guess it's not that political. There are so many deaths. I think it's the fourth leading cause of death now is medical error, and most of that is associated with records. So I can prove who you are. I can prove that the record should belong to you. I can prove, we can fix this. It's solvable. So we've got clients. So Comanity is one of our clients. They're launching with a messaging and secure file transfer platform and a TV streaming platform. They're launching their own token. They're going to then have what is called a gold chain, which is a marketplace that'll be on its own chain. It'll be a layer 2 that will be, think of eBay but on chain for people to use non-fiat currencies to buy stuff and trade stuff. So they're launching. They're going to have their own token. We're launching Rack with the stable coins for different asset classes. We're going to have a property coin and a gold coin. We're going to have so our clients are all coming with their own assets. All of our clients have yield-bearing tokens. Every single one. Every single thing that we do will have a gold thread, as Chainlink calls it, the golden thread, and will be yield-bearing, and you will be able to plan accordingly. We if everything goes well with the contracting, we'll be bringing billions of dollars on in February. Instruxy will have its own TGE event, but we want this to be meaningful. We can't very well say, look at us, we're going to be the most ethical data sharing platform on earth, and then dump on everyone. So we're working really hard trying to figure out how to create an ecosystem. We think we've got it. And
how do we make a real solution and not a Ponzi scheme? How?
The proverbial question. Right.
Well, and I don't know if you guys remember, but Matthew, after we talked and got to know each other a little better, one of the things I shared with the guys was, here's somebody who's founding a really cool company that actually needs crypto, actually needs blockchain. And I remember I was really struck by how thoughtful you were about doing a token generation event and how concerned you were about designing an incentive mechanism that was not extractive, that was not just a flash in the pan. And I remember, just saying this is a real worthy problem to solve. Like after building the tech, I think that's where I don't know, that's where most crypto companies I feel like get it wrong in terms of they make a deal that is good for some investors and bad mostly for retail. So I just remember how thoughtful you were being about that. I'm sure it's going to be great.
And you were, and I love the fact that you were challenging because you don't. Almost every exchange I've spoken to just don't care. I mean, really.
Yeah, they just want you to make them some money. I told Alex, I told him just don't do it until you have something right. Alex, you really would have been proud. That was my inner Alex.
I've got that. I can directly relate at a time when I really needed the money. I said no to over $250,000 of basically free money just because I didn't want to do a token launch. Hadn't spent enough time. I didn't even tell them never. I was just not right now. Can the product stand on its own sans token for a little bit first? Hard no. So I feel you. Exchanges, but I mean, who gives a shit if you're an exchange if you dump on retail because it's all trade volume, right?
Exactly. They make money either way.
That's what you're after. It's really sad.
I was actually really impressed when I stumbled upon you guys, and Evan was giving a talk about ethics and blockchain and crypto, and I was really drawn to it, which is why I pop in now and then. So unfortunately, this happens with our daily Scrum call. It's exactly the same time, so I've got to choose. But no, I thought here are guys who actually get it, who want to sleep at night, who have been through the scams and the rugs but love the tech and know, literally, guys, when people talk about how scary the future is, forget our lunatic leaders at the moment. If we put those aside, every single thing we own is going to have blockchain and AI and robotics in it. It is going to be rebuilt. Every single light bulb and fridge and car and computer. Your generation, you can tell I'm an older guy, but your generation is going to have a 20-year bull run ahead of them. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'm
super cycle confirmed right here by Matthew.
You heard it here first, folks.
Super cycle.
I can't see any other because I've lived through the creation of the PC. I lived through that. I had a business doing it. And then I lived through the creation of the internet. Everyone was buying, like trying to buy bank.com for $10 and stuff like that. I remember when the internet was text-based. So I've lived through these cycles and I've seen them and I know the opportunities, and you guys are so well placed. So this is good for all of us. We've just got to ride out a few of these crazy kind of global macro events and get back to doing what we do. Yeah, I'm excited for the future, guys.
Yeah, I think we all are.
How can people get involved? Like join our Discord. I'm going to ask our guys to join your Discord, and let's keep talking, because my clients are launching tokens and we're launching tokens, and they're all going to be yield bearing. Massive opportunities. Go and follow Rack. Honestly, these guys are.
And what's the URL? I'm sorry, really quick for that, because I want to make a little banner while you're talking about it, so I can pop it on the screen.
RAAC.io. And if you think of like, if you know the Aladdin project with the FX stablecoin, where they created a stablecoin of state ETH, yield bearing, really nice stablecoin, beautiful maths. Think of that, but for RWA. And so the ability to create an on-chain ecosystem of yield-bearing tokens that will increase with assets. So, for instance, and I can't go too much into the project. We're bringing on Noble Metals, but it's a mining contract from a legitimate, one of the biggest mines in the world. And so forward contracts typically are sold 20 to 25% the price of spot. So if you hold that token for 10 years as they mine and refine this stuff, you're going to get a 5x. Now, if I had a 5x token pretty much guaranteed with some adjustments around the edges, could go 6x, whatever, I can create a whole DeFi ecosystem of self-paying loans and all sorts of wonderful things off the back of that. Why would I hold a stable coin that gives me no yield versus a stable coin that's going to give me a yield?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really bringing, and then if you think of like Curve has their Curve token is like, it pays a lot of money. It's got consistent yield. Why aren't we bringing that yield? And this is what Rack are doing. They're bringing that yield back into Web 2 so we can buy assets and then bring the yield of those assets into Web 3 and create these curves of endless value between the two ecosystems. So follow those guys. They're doing amazing things.
And that's Rack, RAAC.
.io.
.io. Great.
They're launching in February. There's a lot going on in February, guys. An awful lot. We've got a lot of clients bringing RWAs. Hopefully we're going to catch the bull cycle. That's down. Like, I'm going to follow you guys on your charts every single day, trying to tell me when. Like, are we there? Is it all season? Are we there?
Will, that's your cue.
I don't know.
Damn it, Will.
Come on, man.
You
Come
have
on.
one job.
But it looks like we're getting close.
So,
Alex, did you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a good question in the audience, and I'm curious myself. You know, as you talk about kind of navigating all of the various landscapes that you have to traverse in order to get a project and a product like this kind of out there. One of the big ones, obviously, that is at the top of my mind, one of the things I've been concerned about with RWA is just the current state of the SEC, which is now very much, looking at down the barrel of some significant change. How have you guys dealt with that so far? And kind of, has the plan for, future work in and around the SEC, has that changed? Kind of where are your guys' heads on that? Just as we start to talk about yield-bearing assets and, different kinds of investment contracts with all of these different, partners and projects down the line.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you've got your institutional grade securities, and we have clients that have paid the big money, the $1 million, so that their tokens can be held by institutions. And that world will continue. Then you've got your overseas, your Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, whose structures are very, very different. And we're starting to see take up. So, for instance, some of the tokens that we've been in discussion with the pension fund that, they're considering overseas in Asia pension funds. So we're seeing movement there. The SEC in particular, you have Reg A, Reg D, Reg S, and you've also got a BVI in the Cayman structures. So we're now seeing some flexibility on hybrid offerings where the legal structures are built and automated depend on the region, like in Europe. So out of Switzerland, you've got some great new legislation around token launches. So how do we navigate it? We make sure all our clients speak to our lawyers. We've got amazing lawyers, several firms that we use. We keep close with our legal teams, and then we've got implementation partners. They're called FTI Consulting. They're a $6 billion consulting firm. These guys made their money through attestation, and so for big projects, they do the implementation of our kit and also advise on all the legalities and the regulation. As we get bigger and scale, then we want more partners. So Instruxy is I build, I have caused to be built, I have instructed. We just want to give, we're builders, we're going to give the tool set to allow businesses to do their own thing. So our entire platform is to empower businesses to participate in Web3 without actually having to know much about Web3.
It's fantastic. I want to invite everybody to drop your questions below. I know we're taking you away from your team and from your work, so we'll try and wrap things up here promptly. But if you're just joining us or you're unclear on what's going on, we're talking to Mr. Matt Harrowing of Instruxy. You can find more about them at instruxy.io. And today's conversation, if you're watching on TikTok, this is recorded. It goes to live forever on our YouTube page, which you can find by looking over here and visiting theriseupmorningshow.com or searching YouTube, Faceless Labs, The Rise Up Morning Show. You'll find us there, and then you can watch us on your TV. It's a lot of fun that way. If you are just finding us for the first time, I want to let you know that we have a totally free community where you can connect with all of us. We're going to post all the links after the show. It's the Rise Up Discord server at discord.gg/riseup. And if you need a step-by-step instruction, we've got them. There's a pinned video in my TikTok profile, or you can send us a message if you're having trouble accessing the server, but it's got everything. Learners at all levels of experience from everywhere in the globe. The only thing missing is you. And we will post the links to this conversation there. We'll let you get in touch with Instruxy with Rack. And guys, I want to kick it over to you as our audience gives us their last thoughts and questions on this, because it's a dense topic. What are kind of your final thoughts on this? And then you too, Matthew, if there's a question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, or like an ask you have for our audience, we would welcome it. But guys, what do you have? I
don't know. I mean, my favorite thing that Matthew said, other than being able to kind of be that golden thread of data, and I like the idea a lot of adding visibility into the actual assets that people own, but also as an investor, the idea of being able to have a much lower risk asset that's available to buy in the crypto space that is not Bitcoin, or at least get access to, be able to get kind of like yields and the potential to get a 4 or 5x long term in a much less risky way, I think is a really great addition to the space. But one of the things I wanted to ask you also, obviously being so focused in the real world asset space, when we say real world assets, we think home, we think gold. You've mentioned a few things a lot of people don't talk about: insurance records, medical records. And I want to ask you, what are some of the more in the outfield kind of real world assets that we can tokenize that you think would have a pretty big impact either in a specific industry, the economy, as a trader or investor, that maybe people don't talk about? Like, what's something that we could shine a light on more and could talk about more?
Oh, fascinating. So tokenized cash flows generally is really what we're talking about. Anything where there is a risk of a yield. I mean, you've seen Polymarket, which has been like a stunning addition to blockchain, really. But tokenizing intangibles. So what do we mean by intangibles? So IP royalties, creating new investment structures. So if you come up with something that's kind of smart, the ability, So within medicine, if someone develops some IP, like there's communities of guys who bid for that and bid and support that, and they've got patience capital. In agriculture, there's a lot of things that require patience capital, and so we're just starting to see cabling, power stations. So I was asked to put together a tokenomic strategy for a power station for it's in an impoverished area, and people live very poorly there, and it's in a country with struggles with access to capital. So I created a cooperative structure whereby there are two types of assets. There is the loan, and then there is the ownership. And eventually, the folks who loan the cash will receive a yield from the power of the new power station, but the ownership will transfer to its users.
Wow.
And so, right, that's kind of what we've got to do here. That's what we've got to do. Because
So you've created an incentive. I just want to underscore this for people, for underserved communities to get access to electricity and maybe potentially other services by incentivizing people who have the resources to bring them there in order to share them, and then make those people who get them for the first time the owners of them. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, we can
Really
create
cool.
we can create these hybrid infrastructures. So the cooperative, so Oric have written a lot about this, the law firm in the States. Brilliant.
Wow.
So the concept around cooperative structures is really mature in America, and it's kind of how American farming and agriculture was formed and still is today. The concept of doing that in a legal way with assets, so people can invest in assets and then have those assets transferred to the actual ownership through rewards mechanisms. This is a game changer. It unlocks capital and it gives ownerships and to the communities that it serves. So intangible assets in terms of patents, we're seeing the one that's really we're kind of waiting to take off is data. It is an intangible asset. It has value. And why it's valuable, if you think in a city where, one of the big questions is what drugs is everyone going to take in a city so that they can figure out how to buy them and the costs for Medicare and Medicaid and these types of things.
Oh, those kind of drugs.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean,
what kind of drugs is everybody going to take in this city? I was thinking to myself.
Well, I mean, you can do the analysis on the others, but so why do people take medicines? Well, of course, it could be hay fever or illness. Why do people get ill? Well, it's diet, it's environment, it's traffic, it's economy, it's education, it's parents. There are so many data points that are important and valuable, but we don't get access to them because they live in other sectors and other industries. The Google of the future will be universal data interoperability, where the value of data can be transferred and the data queried wherever it may be reside. We've built a platform to get there, to do that today. We've spent 3 years building this. It works, it scales, it's beautiful. Now we've got to get it out into the marketplace for that ethical data management and data sharing, so we really can understand. And finally, one of the big ahas, I was asked to look at the architecture for a smart city, and my dawning realization was a smart city. When I looked at it, it was just a centralized data store to harvest you for commercial purposes. I could see it just showed you how your grandmother died. It didn't really stop her from getting mugged in a car park. It just told you that this is going to happen in a car park after the event. With these kind of architectures, we can actually generate near live frameworks where the computer's at the edge, governed by blockchain. This is the future we see, and it's not far away.
Shoot. Well, that's pretty exciting stuff. And I'm going to have to dive more into that. You gave me some good homework of diving more into different types of intangible assets and the different kinds of things that can affect. So I appreciate you for that.
That's honestly my favorite thing about blockchain is like what you can tokenize that doesn't exist, but which is that most of the value in the world is not tangible, and it's certainly not fungible.
I definitely like the word tangible better. it always gives me just like the tiniest little whenever you say doesn't exist, just because I think that pushes us in the wrong direction of just, we live in a world that is just becoming ever more digital. And with that, you get, one big benefit and one big downside. The big benefit is that things are cheaper, faster, more readily available, and more efficient, theoretically. And then on the other side, it is way easier to fudge and fake things. And so it mislead people, misinform, whatever. It becomes harder and harder and harder to verify where data comes from, where information comes from, all these things. That is literally the point of a blockchain. Like, just for the record, like, everything else is nearly superfluous. When you really boil it down, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, data is important. Here's 19 million different ways that data is hyper important. There's a reason that there is so much regulation or lack of regulation around what can and cannot be done with your data. There's a reason that these companies pay out the ass to get what you might consider just basic information about yourself and about other people. And it's a multi-billion dollar industry. It's huge because data drives everything. And so if you introduce a piece of technology in a blockchain or in, the idea of Web3 tech and Web3 ideals that makes the data thing more secure, seems good in general.
Matthew, I didn't explain to you, but that's our button for you get a point when somebody gets dinged. You said something cool, you did something good. I like to ding people as often as I can.
I love points.
Ayo.
They don't really matter.
Couple rapid fire.
They matter to me.
They matter.
It's love.
Oh, they matter.
Go ahead, hit him with the rapid fires, Alex.
Couple rapid fire questions just pulled out of the audience here as we wind down. I think that we talked quite extensively about just sort of the applications of all of this in regards to medical data. There were some questions, I think, from people who joined a little bit later. So if you're curious about how this all applies to the medical side, there was a pretty good chunk of that in the beginning. As we started to talk to Matthew, I definitely encourage you to check out the recording and see that initial bit. It's way better than my ham-handed recount is going to be right at this very second. But Matthew, there was a question that in the line of, regulatory compliance in the United States specifically, do you imagine that some of the products or any of the products you guys are looking at, talking about, working on, going to be available to U.S. citizens? Or is this another one of those things that Americans are going to sit on the sidelines and watch the rest of the world get to mess with?
I think America is going to be one of the leaders in crypto. There are ways that these offerings can be made available to American citizens, but at the same time, there are also ways that these offerings can be structured as utility tokens out of various different countries. So for every one of our clients, they have a different strategy on how they're going to approach that. And by Jove, we want them to be available to all citizens globally, and we are working on that. This dark days that we've been through of whack-a-mole regulation, which has done no one any good, is coming to an end, regardless of whether you like the administration or not, and hallelujah. And quite frankly, if dog with hat can be bought by American citizens, I can give you a stable coin, right?
Amen.
We're going to find a way of doing it.
And that's the bumper sticker.
Yeah, exactly. And for people, you mentioned ZK proofs earlier. We're having a whole week on on-chain solutions, decentralized identity, and the thing to Google for homework is ZK proofs. We can try and streamline it and bumper stick it, but it's a cool piece of math magic that will help us end the kind of extractive data mining. Is magic.
And I do have a 60 seconds video on zero knowledge.
Woo!
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Perfect timing.
I like that. It's gonna unlock that future of being able to capitalize on your data and also stay anonymous if you wish. One such way, but it's coming. It's here. I'm giving myself a point for that because ZK proofs are important. Alex, did you have some other rapid fire questions for Matthew from the audience? Because I didn't see any others, and I don't want to open too big a can of worms.
Yep. No, I think I'm good. I just wanted to, be the first to say thank you so much, Matthew, for giving us your time today. I'm excited to talk to you again because it sounds like you guys are, in a full sprint on a whole bunch of really exciting stuff. And this is the stuff that I'm just so geeked out about in this industry. I mean, it is so exciting when something technical is understandable and you can see the practical application. That happens like once in a million crypto related projects at this point. So I'm very excited to see where you guys go. And I'm very appreciative of you sharing with us and the audience. And I'm looking forward to getting you back hopefully soon.
I appreciate it. Like, the honor's mine, guys. I feel like I'm with crypto royalty.
Hey man, we're just pawns in a big game, but it's good to be here together. And when you're ready, man, and you need help getting your big ideas from where they live to all the minds and mouths and hearts of the people, call us because the show is not sponsored by Instruxy, but it could be, and it would be an honor to partner with you in a deeper way and even just hang out more. I am looking forward to the day when we get to sit down together and have a drink and have a laugh and a handshake and do it up in real life. We're not done here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Matthew Herring of Instruxy. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find him online in many different places. Real quick, what's the best place to get the link for your Discord? That's at instruxy.io. And I know you're in our Discord too.
And I joined your Discord today. So
perfect.
Come and ask me any questions. I'll be there.
I will. Awesome. I made a message about it in Discord, but I will tag you in the message and we will see you there. Okay?
Nice one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Matt.
See you,
Take
Matt.
care.
Nice
Have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Woo. Man, I'm going to give him some air horn. I'm going to give him.
How many points is the air horn?
I don't know. The air horn's at least 10 points, but I gave him a dig for good measure too, because
11 points.
what a cool solution. You know what I mean? Like,
it is cool.
Dude, it says a lot when, to Carol's point here, it says a lot when, because I was talking to Matthew a little bit before we started the stream just about how, listen, I know that this is really exciting and I know you guys have some really cool shit going, but there's a lot of people in the audience that are at a beginner level. There are, of course, plenty of advanced listeners, but we got to make sure that we keep it moving and that we don't get too technical. And I just think it's so cool when you can have a conversation that is applicable and relatable across an audience interested, regardless of experience level, when, the meat and potatoes of this thing are pretty technical.
Yeah, I want to say, how cool was it to have almost 200 people in the live the whole time that he was here? Like, I was like, we are so back, baby. Maybe more than we've ever been,
No, that's very exciting.
Now the market tanks.
Now the market tanks.
So there's been obviously a lot of questions and concerns just about this whole thing. I think, some people may be experiencing a bit of a dip for the first time, or one of the first times, or the first time when holding something and not just watching it happen. So I definitely want to, Will, get a bit of an overview and some of your thoughts and kind of address the first big question, which was, are you guys worried? I'm personally not.
Hey, Casey.
I've been excited and waiting, and this is just a little baby dip.
Yeah. I brought Casey up because I figured she would have some helpful context and good answers to this question, because of, always we love having her. So welcome back, Casey.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
So Will, put our minds at ease, and then maybe we can go to Casey, and then we can do a little round robin. And especially for the people who are new, let me just say welcome. We're here Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have crypto questions, this is a great place to be. We're in a long-term relationship with each other. We're not necessarily exclusive. You can go learn from other people, but we want you to feel like you're welcome here to come back and hang out, and then check out all the links that we have for you too, so that you can continue the conversation with us when the show is over, because you got questions. We understand. We want to help you have some peace of mind. What's going on with the market? I haven't.
Bitcoin's a little red, and everything else is a little red, and eventually it'll be green again, and then everything else will be green again, and then everything will be fine.
So, Will, is this like specific data driven? Is it just kind of that time? Because we've been hot for a while.
I'll share just a little bit more information.
Fact check yourself, brother.
Here's the thing. Get out of here, Evan. Here's the thing. we're just we overextended. We've been overextended for quite some time, and then we hit a very, very large psychological number of 100K. So it makes sense that everyone's like, oh, hey, we're just hit that 100K number. I'm gonna have my sell orders there because we have silly little monkey brains, and our silly little monkey brains like round numbers, and we set buy targets and sell targets around them. 100K is a very, very shiny round number, if you will.
Did we actually hit it?
No, we didn't. But that's because we had sell orders. Actually,
99.6 is what I'm seeing.
We
We hit
hit
it on centralized exchanges, not on
$99,800.
chain.
Oh, we did. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, $99,800 is what we got. So 100K, but everyone had their sell orders beforehand. So, you just had short-term profit taking. The other thing too is this is a weird week. This is a weird week because markets are closed on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. Friday, the markets are only open until 1:00. And we care about that in the crypto space now because of the ETFs, right? Crypto is 24/7, but the ETFs aren't. And the other thing too is you're going to have a lot of these like hedge funds and traditional institutional buyers who've been scooping up Bitcoin like crazy are on vacation this week. They're going to be off on Wednesday. They're going to start taking today off and all that. So today's a weird week. Today is a lull of ETF activity. And with a lull of ETF activity, you allow the hedge funds to sell and make money off their shorts. And that sets panic in with retail and they overreact. We overreact as if I'm not part of retail. And, and people panic sell. So, but the thing is I view this as a very short-term thing. Because once the week comes back, Monday comes back, we have institutional buying for the ETFs coming in. Everyone's back in office. They're buying Bitcoin again. They've been buying Ethereum, which has been interesting while Bitcoin's been selling in the ETFs. And you're going to see that institutional rat race turn back on to get as much Bitcoin as you can before the United States starts buying it. That game hasn't gone away. That game's going to stop Bitcoin, in my personal opinion, from retracing as far as it would in a normal market, which should be about $78,000. I think we end up getting a correction to something like 88,000, maybe 86,000. And that's about what you're going to get. And then you're going to have your micro strategies dive in, your Michael Dells dive in, your Larry Finks, all that buy up as much Bitcoin as they possibly can.
Yeah. And I just want to point to your video that you did yesterday. You explained it on the show, but several people have asked about altcoin season. Go watch Will's update from yesterday because it's got all the beautiful data and you say...
Yeah, or watch the most recent one from today.
Of course you've got another one today where you do the whole damn video again. Oh, yeah. Will, you're the most prolific man I know.
Oh, thanks, man. But yeah, and so that's the thing with Bitcoin. So there's just a lull. Like the thing that's picking up crypto right now is largely the ETFs. That's just going to be on pause for this week. So expect the markets to slide, hit 100K. So that's that for Bitcoin. When we take a look at altcoins, Bitcoin dominance chart, we're still seeing good signs. Despite the markets being red, altcoins in comparison to Bitcoin are holding up pretty damn well. And it looks like there's still going to be some continued momentum. It's not going to be, straight upwards of continued momentum for altcoins. Just with the markets, it's kind of like this, right? There are dips and movements upwards. But we are seeing good positive signs. Bitcoin dominance chart, we see a lower low. We see 3 red candles in a row called, what is it? The 3 red crows. I always forget it.
Yeah,
Murder crows.
That's what you said. The 3 red crows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a sign of really good momentum, really good bearish momentum, which is what you want to see on Bitcoin's dominance chart. And basically, if you see Bitcoin dominance fall below 58%, you could see altcoin season really, really, really open up. So, we're seeing some good signs. Ultimately, we want to get below 58% for Bitcoin dominance. If that happens, party is on, ladies and gentlemen. If it doesn't happen, we'll continue to evaluate altcoin season. So in summary, I'm rambling for a long time, kind of saying the same stuff, but don't be thrown off by this week. The rat race to get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can before the United States starts buying it is still on. It's just going to turn back on Monday. That's it.
Good to know. Casey, what say you? How's it look on your side of the world?
It looks good. I'm moving where it's a little bit quieter.
No problem. You want to take a minute? I can come back to you.
I'm good. I'm just going to sit in this little corner here.
Nobody puts Casey in the corner.
Yeah, Casey is certainly in the corner right now. Actually, let me just there's randomly a perfect chair in a corner.
My
that,
God.
Lovely.
I'm sitting
That's
on.
the most sitting
Dig in the chair.
I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is like the timeout bench. Anyway, yeah, no, markets look good. I mean, when you look at them initially, you're like, oh, red, that's probably not very good, but it's healthy, right? To see this, we don't want to go up forever. That's a sign of a very unhealthy market. Whenever Bitcoin gets extremely overextended and we keep going up in a straight line forever, that's actually to me more concerning than days like today, like yesterday, where we are seeing these pullbacks. And so, just so everybody knows, this does happen. Every cycle we've seen pullbacks of 20, 30, even 40+% corrections. And while I don't think that this is going to be that extreme in that 40% territory, I do think that this is it's a sign of an incredibly healthy market. And it's what we needed for sustained growth and for the longevity of this cycle. So it is a very, very positive thing. And GL, the puts are putting right now. So I'm pretty happy about it. I shorted Bitcoin at 100K, bought some put options, and we're good.
Nice.
I want to know, for people who have no idea what you just said, what that means. And the context is, can you explain to people, like, we're all pretty chill about this correction. And one of the things I often say to folks is, if you know how, you can make money whether the market is going up or down. So can you explain what puts are in that context?
Yeah, so there's really two main types of derivatives that you'll hear me talk about when it comes to trading. And that's going to be options and then perpetual futures. So perpetual futures are like leverage trading, where you hear people say that they went 5x long or 5x short on a position. You can use perpetual futures, and futures are essentially you're trading on the future price of something, right? So you're assuming that the price is either going to go up or down. So you make money when the price goes up. If you go long, you make money when the price goes down if you go short. And leverage I've talked a lot about leverage. I think you guys have talked a lot about leverage on your page, but one of my suggestions to everybody is, when you're learning how to trade, learn how to trade spot before you learn how to trade leverage, because what leverage does is, while it essentially artificially amplifies your position size. So if you go 5x long on something, let's say you open up a $1,000 position, it actually acts as a $5,000 position. So if there's a 1% move in the market, you make 5% rather than the 1%. However, conversely, the price only has to fall 20% because your losses are also amplified by 5x, to where you would completely lose that position. Versus if you were just trading on the market, if you were trading spot, you wouldn't lose all your money until it lost 100%, right? So there's like your little leverage FAQ. But so perpetual futures are trading the future price movements of something, and options are a financial product that's very similar to futures, but it's a little bit more math intensive. And options are, they have a particular strike price at which you have the option to buy or sell an asset. And there's all different types of options. There's all different types of option strategies that, like, we could do an hour-long session of options alone. But simply put, it's just another financial product that you can use to trade. I will say that, again, options are definitely a lot more math intensive, and there's a lot more that you need to know than trading futures. But yeah, there's my derivatives.
Thank you. It was excellent, concise, and thorough.
The point to double and triple down on there that Casey made is that your losses are also amplified. I watched a video yesterday from some creator that immediately just went on my no list. I've never seen this before. And the one video that came up was just like, hey, it was this, I'm paraphrasing, but this was essentially it. It was just like, hey, there's two ways that you can do crypto. You can either not make money, or you can make a lot of money. And if you've never done this before, you got to learn about this thing called leverage trading. And then and my comment was just like, my brother in Christ, are you seriously advising brand new people to start trading crypto on leverage? ? And he was like, not encouraging. And I'm like, bro, you gotta watch your own video, dude, because that's what you said. You're like, hey, dipshit, are you sick of not making any money? Try leverage. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
Are you tired of being poor and ugly? Well, may I offer you leverage cryptocurrency trading on PP poo poo ping pang bang boo coin.
It's incredible how many people present leverage as like this hidden secret to just making way more money than ever. when it's like, listen to me very carefully. If you're not making money trading without leverage, you're not going to magically make money trading with leverage. You're just going to lose more faster. That's what you're going to
absolutely die on this hill.
Alex, that is not what the exchanges who we could maybe possibly
know.
partner with one day want us to be saying.
Hey, fuck those guys.
Yeah, do you know what I would say to those exchanges is
My dad can beat up your dad.
crypto dad over here, Alex.
I will beat up your dad. Listen to me.
I will beat up your dad.
No, but it's awful.
Hey, he's an 82-year-old man.
Dude, I don't trade leverage. You know why? Because I suck at trading. I would just lose. So I don't. I just buy spot. I've been doing it for years. And guess what? I'm more successful than pretty much every leverage trader I've ever seen on the internet who actually accurately says what they're getting. I mean, anyone
it's certainly
can lie
more
to you on the
successful than
internet.
you used
Just
to be.
remember that.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh yeah. Of course. I lose money just fine without leverage. All right. I don't need help amplifying. I don't need to turn it up to 11. I'm bad enough at trading.
My God. So that's what's happening in the markets.
Well,
please save me from myself before I sound
yeah,
more jaded.
actually, just while we have Casey here, Casey and I were talking. Well, my last night, her this morning, and we covered a couple topics. One of which I'm going to out both of us here. Casey, I apologize.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
We spent a lot longer than you might expect. Although Evan, you could probably guess. Gushing over the crush that Casey and I both have on Mert.
Oh, sure. I thought you were going to say something like devious.
What and who?
Mert. Come on.
A crush and Mert of the Helios Foundation. Is it a foundation? Helios Labs.
Helios Labs. Yeah, he's the CEO of Helios. He's a Solana core contributor. He's a grade A shit poster, the ultimate reply guy, my favorite account on Twitter. And what my beard wants to be when it grows up. He's
what my beard wants to be.
He's very interesting to listen to and watch. Yesterday he went on like a 9-paragraph rant about this unmitigated giant problem that Solana has. And I'm going to pull it up. I'm not even going to try to paraphrase it. I'll find it. But in addition to that, which is actually, Casey, what I would like you to talk about, you've been doing some interesting conversing with people over there right now with regards to meme coins. And I thought it would be a good thing to cover just because we all feel very particular about meme coins. And the general attitude that I constantly get is that people just assume I hate all of them, which is not the case. So can you kind of overview for us the way you've been talking about it and what you've been getting in response from people as you change the conversation there?
Yeah, before I go on my Yap Fest, Will, did you want to jump in on that? You look like you had something to say.
Oh, no. If I did, I was just looking at Mert's Twitter and going through it. No.
The pregnant pause there had me like,
Tell me why.
Oh my
Go ahead,
God.
Casey.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that actually to touch on a few things. So where am I at right now? What am I doing? What are these conversations that I'm having? So I'm presently at something that's called a pop-up city. And it's basically a community experiment that it's like if you took all of the best parts of a crypto conference, kind of abstracted them away, plopped all of these people in a resort on a beach in Thailand, and then parked them there for a month to connect and collaborate and iterate and make progress and solve problems and challenge each other. That's what this pop-up city is. It's kind of an experiment where, again, it's kind of like a crypto conference, but more of like a live, work, play situation because it's an extended period of time. So we're all here for a month. There's about 200 developers. The conference was DevCon that was hosted by the Ethereum Foundation. And now there are people here that are working on all different facets of cryptocurrency, which is really, really fun and fascinating. And so actually, I really enjoyed the conversation that you just had previously with Matthew, because I believe that I've probably learned more ZK math in the last 2 days than I have in the past 2 years from all of the GigaBrain people that are here. There's a ton of people working on really, really cool ZK stuff, FHE stuff. But you also have, there's people that are working on more of the social side of things, and the people who are working on There's people from exchanges here. There's people who are Ethereum core developers here. There are people who are working on interop solutions. And it's just kind of like there's people doing everything here, but there's definitely a big ZK focus. So it was kind of perfect that you guys had Matthew on there because I'm in ZK mode right now. But
Nice.
Anyway, regarding the meme coins. So the reason I preface with all of that is because, this is an environment where typically I would say it's a bit hostile towards meme coins, right? When you're in like an uber development heavy environment, especially like a very Ethereum core, like cypherpunk ethos environment, it's typically not a very friendly environment to meme coins. So what I've tried to do is really open up the conversation to people and explain the different types of meme coins that exist, right? You have the meme coins that I believe can be one of the greatest drivers of onboarding to cryptocurrency. And then you also have the meme coins that are just zero sum, extremely extractive, very, very bad for the space, and the things that give meme coins a bad reputation. And so my personal philosophy is that meme coins and other consumer crypto products, we have to meet people where they are and build for what they're comfortable with and give them environments and incentives to leverage their existing behaviors, not try and force them to come to us, right? So all that we can do here is this is what people want to do. This is where they're at. We need to meet them there and we need to foster that environment. And so that's kind of the conversation that I've been having with a lot of people around here is, hey, how can we actually change, like, how can we shift the messaging around meme coins to foster this environment rather than making it such a binary of either you are or you are not into meme coins or you love them or you hate them. It's like if you recognize them as these are truly one of the greatest allies that we have towards adoption of cryptocurrency and onboarding people directly on chain. I think that's another big light bulb moment that I've had with a lot of people here is I'm like, you have to think about it though, when people are coming in and they're getting started and they're buying meme coins straight away, yeah, maybe that's not what's ideal for most people. However, that person went directly on chain in most cases. Like if they came in to learn about meme coins, they skipped the phase of being on a centralized exchange. They skipped the phase that most people, they kind of learn in reverse and they went directly on chain. And so it's like you have this captive audience and we have this environment of attention and community and excitement that we just need to harness in the right way. So I think that that's kind of a lot of what I've been talking about here.
And what do you think the right way looks like in terms of some of the tools and solutions that are available right now? Like we were just talking yesterday on the show about ClankerBot. For example, are you hip to Clanker?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I went and was playing with it yesterday after Mashiste was talking about it. I had seen 2 or 3 different newsletters about it. I saw it blow up on Warpcast last week. And so I went and I threw a meme coin out there for fun. Cranberries in a can because we were talking about it. I wanted to give it life in the world. Damn it. But I feel like that's a great example of people will do all kinds of experiments now that they have the tools. And not necessarily to like financialize the tokens, but just to give velocity to an idea by attaching a token to it and driving behaviors like speculation or, whatever. Social sharing. Do you have any other examples of tools that you think are like really killing it in this area right now that you get excited for?
I certainly agree with that. I would say not tools per se. I mean, the AI agent by way of meme coin meta right now is really fun and exciting. I will say that 99% of them are just LARPs. They're like ChatGPT wrappers that aren't actually doing what they say that they're doing. But there are some that are really innovative and that are really cool. I think that for me,
hang on, Casey. You kind of
lost your audio.
Sorry, we lost you real quick. For me, continue.
Oh, I think it's more about elevating.
I've got you. I've got you.
Okay. I think it's more about elevating the meme coins that are doing things for good and that are doing things the right way and just not giving such a platform to the things that are not. So for example, I was so happy to see that Pump Fund took down live streaming because that was becoming absolutely heinous and incredibly harmful to the space. And I think that when we talk about and when we elevate, and honestly, I think I've gotten a lot of hate from the meme coin scene of people that I've been involved with for a long time in Telegram groups and stuff, but with like the cabal, where I'm just outing people. I'm just putting people on blast of like of how shitty their behaviors are. And And it's cost me definitely like a lot of friends. It's cost me a lot of money, but it's like I don't care because it's more harmful than it is helpful to anything. And it's like I don't know. So I think for me, the biggest thing is elevating the things that are actually making a difference. And so like one of the things that, if you've heard me talk about memes at all lately, you guys have all probably heard me talk about Mr. Miggles. It's a project I really like on Base. And I don't have any, I've never been paid by that project. I've never had any kind of fiscal involvement with that project other than me being an investor in it and then getting behind it. And something really cool that they're doing is building what's called the meme world order, which is actually it's
the
this
meme
whole philosophy
world order.
behind.
That's great.
Yeah, and they're partnering with major meme brands such as like Bonk and the Doge IP guys and all of this stuff to elevate good IP in crypto and in meme coins, and actually like show that you can use these things as education tools. You can use these things as onboarding tools. You can use them as real sound community building environments. And it's not all PvP, and it's not all, again, like the zero sum games that so much of meme coins has become. And so I think for me, it's just more kind of amplifying and elevating that because it's super necessary.
Yeah, it's rising up.
No, there's so many specific pieces that are cool about just the meme machine in general. The idea that you can make tangible and allow to be monetized culture and attention. There's of course ways that you can use this for evil. We see it every single day. I am very glad that the Pump Fun live stream was taken down. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in the space. But I think it also kind of goes to show that you don't necessarily need like government overreach to squish really bad stuff, because the community will wake up and realize, like, it didn't let it go too long. It really didn't last that long. It was a cool feature. We didn't do a very good thing with it. Now it's dead. Just like there was the other example.
I think there's a lag.
No worries. There was the other example of this happening on Solana in the kind of, beginnings of this big meme cycle, where the meta was just racism. It didn't last that long. It was awful.
Yeah.
People were like, okay, guys, this is not funny anymore. And we just moved on to, something, went back to animals.
Well, what we moved on to after that was like stop the racism on Solana. And it was interesting because I was saying to Alex when that happened, I was like, what do you want to bet? That this is somebody in a cabal who just launched a bunch of words I can't say on TikTok as meme coins. And now they're flipping around to play the other side of the token. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, that could be it.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and my point with that stuff too is people are making the argument of, well, you guys wanted a permissionless and decentralized environment, like now you want to put rules in place. And it's like, yes, because that side of the internet exists. Like, go to 4chan if you want to do that, like, bullshit. We don't need to amplify it here, right? It doesn't, just because things are permissionless and decentralized doesn't mean that it needs to be absolute chaos.
Yeah. Well said.
Well said.
I say that all the time. I just got in an argument on Twitter yesterday with someone who was whining about the Pump Fun live streaming feature being yelled at. And I'm like, dude, you have people, like, I don't care if it's all a skit. You have literally people duct taping small children to chairs on live streams. Like, explain to me why, even as a skit, that's okay to put on the internet. I was like, if you really feel that strongly about zero moderation, I'm pretty sure there's a number of NAMBLA forums on 4chan that you can go troll on, you fucking rat. What happens to social media when you remove all semblance of moderation? That was the other point that I made, was just like, there is so much ground between government censorship and control, which almost never actually happens, for the record, huge pet peeve of mine, and community policing. You want this is what you want. And Pump Fun is a great example of this finally being like, okay, we gotta pull the plug on this, because community uproar is enough, and this is getting heinous enough to where we don't want to deal with it anymore. But there was no government agency coming in and killing it, And it just drives me insane when anything gets removed from the internet for any reason and some idiot cries censorship when they don't even really understand what censorship actually means. Like, no, we're policing ourselves. That's the whole point of Web3.
Yeah, and I'm curious how we can start to see more like reputation protocols enacted that are helpful to that end. Reputation slashing the same way that, for people who don't know, one of the cool things about code that governs a protocol versus like a human is it sees everything. It's like, instead of having one bank vault with one security camera and one security guard, it's like having 10,000 bank vaults, and they can all talk to each other. They don't need to sleep, and they're not going to make a sloppy mistake. The challenging part is we have to decide what the rules are. You don't want to create a system that is like, your social credit score, and it's governed by the People's Republic of, whatever nation, that some central government has the authority to slash you, to harm you, to incentivize you to do what aligns with their interest of keeping power. But I think it is a really interesting experiment to imagine what it might look like for all of us to create enforcement or reward mechanisms that help us stay safe and keep each other safe, or just give life to our values, whatever those values might be, as we decide on them collectively in real time going forward together. I saw a video the other day about somebody saw a hate group flyer in their town, in small town America. In the wake of the election, they were saying that they've seen this kind of thing increase, or leading up to the election, or whatever. People are getting frisky. And this person was advocating that, like, you need to be the moderator in your community if you see this. Show up on someone's lawn. And I was thinking to myself, my God, I would love to do that. Like, as a person who wants to stand up for what's right, as a person who's relatively safe, relatively, free from danger, but also, like, there are probably a lot of people who have children, who have families, who are vulnerable, who can't just show up on the lawn of a person who runs a hate group, because, that's not a good idea. But if we're on chain and we can stay verifiable, yet perhaps anonymous, and there are real world consequences for the kind of things that happen online, we can link those things more closely. We can have, hopefully, better systems that will give life to our ability to live values, not because somebody said we have to and will punish us otherwise, but because we all are looking out for and taking care of each other. I think that's cool. Go to 4chan if you want to do that stuff, and then come over here if you want to do this stuff kind of thing.
You can go over there and you can eat your heart out. Nambla would love to have you.
What's the difference between 4chan and 8chan? Is it just more?
4chan's the OG. I don't know what 8chan is.
I heard about
much.
I don't know, man.
How about you go over there and you find out and let us know?
I have a feeling that I already know, and I think it probably looks like this. Like,
you'd end up on a list.
Yeah, I think I would end up on a list. I won't go. I'll let somebody in the audience tell me. Okay, so it's past time to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. Casey, it's probably like midnight 30 there. You're probably been up all day and up all night because you're hanging out with cool builders. Is there any truth to the rumor that we might get to see you in Europe next week, or can you not confirm?
No, that's true. I will say there's a bit of a dilemma where I have been invited to Emergence, and I do not have any cold weather clothing because I'm in Thailand, and it's quite cold in Prague. So TBD on whether or not I want to go over there, buy a new wardrobe, lug all my clothes around, do all of that.
Ban the ADL douchebag.
I know, I'm doing it right now.
I just want you to know that I have so many, unisex clothes. It's hip to look like you're kind of whatever. I got, look at this. This is my whole wardrobe.
Are you saying that you're going to
cozy
pack me
casual.
some clothes?
I will pack you some clothes. I'll pack you a nice coat, a scarf, a knitted hat, and at least like 1 or 2 insulated layers.
Yeah,
and
this is a solvable problem.
This is so solvable.
All right.
So solvable.
I think I'm down. To be honest, I'm not a tropical climate person either, as evidenced probably by the rate at which my hair is growing just by sitting outside and the amount of mosquito bites that I'm accumulating. So I'd be happy to head over to Prague.
Yeah, just take a little quick break, and come hang out with us, and it'll be fun.
We have a badass Airbnb.
I think it's got how many bedrooms, Alex? So like you could probably have your own spot.
Yeah, there's room.
You wouldn't even have to talk to us.
I'm so sad. I'm gonna miss this.
There's a non-zero
know, we
chance
are
of this
too.
happening. So I'll coordinate with you guys probably in the next like 2 days. So
Perfect.
I may come.
Okay, and then also, I'm sorry for sending you a million
commitment.
DMs frantically when I was like updating panel stuff. But when you get a second, in a chore time, chuck me a headshot and some other stuff. It's in our DM, and I will get us going for a panel.
Okay, my messages must not have gone through because I responded to all of your messages. So maybe let me.
Awkward.
I'll double check. Don't fret. Do
Awkward.
you guys have, and by you guys, I'm talking to everybody in the audience. If you have, and also you guys up here with me, if you have a final thought, a question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom for us, then you got to leave it in the comments, or you got to jump in the Rise Up Morning Show Discord. It is discord.gg/riseup. If you're on YouTube, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen. You can catch the full replay of this episode featuring our interview with Matthew Harrowing of Instruxy on YouTube. Search Faceless Labs, the Rise Up Morning Show, or just come to the Discord. We'll get you a link, and then check out all the other free resources there and at theriseupmorningshow.com. We've got courses. We've got one-on-one coaching. We've got links to buy the mug. We have got great things. And the only thing, my friends, that's missing is you. We're going to be back tomorrow, 7 Central Standard Time, and then 7 p.m. for Rise Up After Dark. We're going to keep the DID Zero Knowledge Proof theme going with the incomparable Evan McMullen, one of my favorite brains in our space. And we want to see you there, especially if you're new, but also especially if you're one of our old friends. And that's my final thought is your homework is to go look up Zero Knowledge Proofs and come back with your questions. And don't forget to leave Casey a comment to bug her to come to Europe. What do you got?
So, wait, Muhammad just made a comment that really speaks to my heart, which is AI cryptos are just fancy meme coins. I was like, oh, that's straight into my heart. That speaks to my true.
Muhammad, you get a point for that. When you said Muhammad, I thought you meant like the prophet.
No, not quite. Different Muhammad.
Is that what made you giggle, Alex? I saw you giggling over there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Casey, do you have a final thought?
Yeah.
Or Will? Sorry, who?
No, I was just gonna say I don't have any final thoughts or opinions. I've kind of shared them. But Casey, go for it.
No final thoughts. Yeah, encourage everybody to go check out ZK Proofs. Go learn about it because it is the future. And I am more ZK pilled now than I've ever been in my life. So go learn ZK.
Awesome. Alex, you get the final word, my friend.
Two final thoughts. One, if you happen to be in Prague between December 3rd and December 8th, let us know because Evan and I will be there. And we
Do a little meetup?
We have certainly some time and work commitments, but I think we'll have some time to hang out, meet up. And I don't care what anyone says. I will die on this hill. Cue the soundboard.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
Czech beer is the best beer in the world, bar none. So come get the best beer in the world with us in Prague. If you happen to be there, just reach out, let us know.
Will is FOMOing so hard right now.
It's the Irish with Guinness.
No, you shut the hell up. It's absolutely not.
The Guinness is better.
All right, and just like that,
Been to
the
Prague.
team is breaking up. Will, you're fired. It was nice knowing you.
That's fine. I'll take all my followers. Come with me. We'll make our own show.
I'm just kidding.
Gonna
Will,
be called
you can't leave. I don't know
Will's
anything about the
Morning
markets.
show.
You can't
We're
leave.
gonna talk about and look at my chin.
It could be the sit down morning show. We got the Rise Up. You could have to sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah, I'm Switzerland in this debate because I've been sober for 6 years. So I like all of you and we can all get along. I
There
love
it
you.
Perfect.
Nope, that's too unifying. Get Casey out of here. She gets her own show.
I'm also very curious to see if this one little shop in the town square in Prague still exists. It's called Moriarty's, and it's like this old school smoke shop with like the big fancy pipes and like the packing tobacco and the huge walk-in cigar humidor. The last time I was there, I was not old enough to really enjoy it, so I'm excited to enjoy it if it still exists. Okay, last thought. Just in case you need a little bit of a push to look into ZK and understand the basic idea of it before you deep dive. Here it is in less than 30 seconds. So you've got, okay, technical definition first, and then I'll tell you what it means in English. So ZK proofs are cryptographic methods that allow one party, one group, to prove to another party that something is true without revealing any of the additional unnecessary information for the specific proof. A real world example of that being applied would be needing to show a bouncer at a club your ID to prove that you're old enough to get into the bar, but not wanting this random guy to get your home address, your full name, your date of birth, your weight, eye color, hair, all of these identifying important characteristics. There's enough information on a driver's license to commit identity theft if you're committed and dedicated enough. So that's kind of the point. The point would be that you could prove using ZK methods to that bouncer that, yes, I meet the criteria to get into this. You don't need to see all of my private and personal information. That's why ZK is important.
Super important.
Tons of applications.
Okay, listen. You're going to make a video on this, right? And Casey, I assume you're going to make a video on this. I might have to make a video on this. It might be a ZK week. Evan McMullen refers to it as math magic. I really like that. And what I'll say about that is,
don't come for me.
So thank you very much for hanging out, everybody. This has been a wonderful time. You were the best part of what we do at the Rise Up Morning Show. So join us again tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, and catch up with us in the Discord. Until then, my friends, be safe, stay well,